In this lesson, we are looking at linear triplet fills. To remind ourselves what a triplet is, it is a 3-note pattern, and we count it as 1 triplet. We will then have 12 notes in each bar. Our first phrase, we've got a bass drum on the downbeats. So the bass drum is on the 1, 2, 3, 4. We then have 2 notes in between the bass drum for our hands. So we'll have our 2 hands on the snare playing a right-left. Slowly it will sound like this. Once you feel comfortable with this, we're then going to move it around the kit. Firstly on the snare, high tom, mid tom, floor tom. Applied to a musical setting, so you have 1 bar of groove and then 1 bar of fill. We can then break up our hands. So at the moment we're playing each drum with the same hands. We can break it up. So our first beat could be a bass drum followed by a snare high tom. Repeat that again. And then our 3 and 4 could then be back on the medium tom, both hands, and then 2 notes on the floor tom, sounding like this. Another way that you can break it up is to have the right hand move around the kit while the left hand stays on the snare. Our next phrase, we are now moving our phrase 1/8 note. So instead of the bass drum always being on the downbeats, the 1, 2, 3 and 4, we're moving it to the 1 trip, so the trip of each beat. That means our fill will be starting with a right hand on the snare for the 1, the trip being on the bass drum, and then the let being back on the snare. That 3-note phrase. Play that 4 times to make a 1-bar phrase. Same as the last exercise, we're now going to move it around the drums, starting with the snare, high, medium, floor. For a fill idea, you could play the first set on the snare, followed by high tom, followed by snare, followed by floor tom. Applied into a musical setting. The third example, we're again moving our phrase 1/8 note or one triplet. So now we're starting with our right, left, and then we've got a bass drum on the one triplet, the last note of the three notes. Slowly, it will sound like this. Slightly faster. And moving around the drums. Now we come to the creative part with the fill, so we could start with the first two notes on the snare, second two on the high tom, back to the snare, back to the floor tom. Or again, like the previous examples, we're splitting up the hands. The right hand will go around the toms and the left hand will stay on the snare. We are now coming to the more complex part. To give these fills even more variety, we're going to start combining different phrases in one bar. For example, we're going to take the first example, which was a kick right left. We're going to play that twice. And then we're going to take our last example, which was the snare, snare, kick, snare, snare, kick, and we're going to play that phrase twice. Combining those two examples together, it will sound like this. Moving around the kit. Another example that we can do is combining exercise 3, where we've got the 2 snare drums and the kick drum, playing that twice. And then exercise 2, where we have a snare, kick, followed by another snare. Played that twice. Combining the fill would be like this. Moved around the drums. Applied to a musical setting.